Welcome back to Higurashi Gou. I hope you all enjoyed your break because it's time to begin the Neko Damashi Hen arc, otherwise known as the Rika Suffering arc. But that's like every other arc, honestly. Welcome to the August Hail. I'm August and I want to help you find something great to experience. Here on the channel, I review anime visual novels, but for this series, we are going to cover the anime adaptation of Higurashi When They Cry Go. These series of videos will be a review and a reaction to each episode of Higurashi. However, at this point in the series, the anime has veered off from the original series and has become its own unique thing. So going forward, this series will be mostly speculation and theory crafting to solve this new mystery of Higurashi. If you have not watched episode 14 of Higurashi When They Cry, I would highly suggest watching the episode before continuing with the rest of the video. And if you're looking for my specific videos regarding each episode, links are in the description down below. And with that, let's begin. I'm going to minimize this story recap, mostly because this series isn't a direct visual novel comparison anymore. If Higurashi Gou was a full remake, then I would continue, but it's definitely not that anymore, especially since it now serves as a sequel to the original Higurashi at this point. I'll bring up some relevant points from the original visual novel from time to time, but a direct comparison isn't exactly applicable. Now let's focus on the key points. First off, the massacre. Rena was telling the truth in the previous episode. Oishi literally shot everybody. But before that happens, Oishi was seen with a bloody bat, which if we remember, was used to kill Keiichi and Teppei back at Satoko's house. However, Oishi doesn't have any blood on him. Most likely, Oishi was at the house, but after Keiichi and Teppei's fight. Oishi is also confirmed to have gone crazy due to the clear signs of him scratching his neck, obsessing over the Oyashiro curse and blaming it on Rika. This is the first actually. In the original visual novel, Oishi never goes crazy at all, so I'm curious to see what made him go over the edge. He seemed perfectly fine prior to this moment, so I'm wondering if someone made him go insane. There's a couple of suspects. Tomitake and Takano were last seen in the parking lot, Satoko doesn't have a clear location of where she's at, and there's also the possibility of a third party. After the brutal massacre, Rika gets transported to the other world again, and we learn some useful information after talking with Hanyu. Due to the leftover power of the Hanyu remnant, Rika can now remember the events from the previous worlds, including the detail of who killed her. Because of that power, it also means that Hanyu cannot aid Rika anymore, as she disappears, most likely to never come back. The biggest plot element of them all, however, is the formal introduction of the Onigari no Ryo, a sacred sword enshrined in the Furude Shrine storage house. There's lore behind what the sword actually is, but for the sake of the plot, it's used to kill loopers. Rika's been able to repeat these worlds over and over again, but considering her mental age after repeating the tragedy of Hinamizawa for about a century, her sanity wouldn't be able to take anymore. With a fragment of the sword left, Rika does have the ability to end her life, permanently. And considering her nihilistic and defeatist attitude, she's thought about it multiple times, and not just in the Higurashi Gou anime. Luckily, her friends find her before she's able to off herself and gives herself a time limit. I don't think the sword is intended for Rika though, which makes me heavily think that this detail of the sword being able to kill loopers implies the existence of another looper besides Rika. We might not know who this other looper is, current suspicions point to Satoko right now, but I have a theory about the motive on why these loops are happening again. Rika states that she left Hinamizawa when she grew up. Given Rika's feelings about the seemingly endless looping of Hinamizawa, probably caused her to never want to return to the village ever again. So perhaps someone wanted to bring Rika back to Hinamizawa, and that willpower and desire was strong enough to cause the events of Hinamizawa to loop again, in order to bring Rika back. Or, looking at the big picture, everyone in the club has split off and gone their own separate ways, possibly. Someone was probably lonely and wanted to go back to the time when they were having fun in the club with everybody. Of course, this is all wild speculation, and you're welcome to disagree, but considering Higurashi's themes about friendship, it doesn't feel too far off personally. Now before we end off, we are given a small revealing detail. Mion is holding / knows where the keys to the school outhouse are, which if you remember, was the location of Rika's dead body in the second arc, the Watsudamashi Hen arc. But like normal, the more answers we get, the more questions appear as well. We still have a long way to go before Rika reaches her happy end. This mystery isn't over, and despite it being self-inflicted, there's an actual time limit this time. So what do you guys think of episode 14 of Higurashi Gou? What are your impressions of the new episode, and what are your thoughts on what might happen next? I would love to hear them. And as always, subscribe if you like the video and want to see more. Please please check out some of my other videos on the channel and check back every week for new content. If you're interested in my thoughts, you can follow me on Twitter at TheAugustHale. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.